An emerging ecosystem is gaining momentum fast, steadily capturing the imagination and mindshare of crypto degens and professional asset managers alike, giving it potential to become a top 10 asset. We've seen this play out before. Early Binance investors made life-changing gains. Solana had a parabolic run that shocked the market, and now history could be repeating itself. The best part is the catalyst hasn't even hit yet. So today, my friends, we're going to be talking about Hyperliquid, if I think it's a good ecosystem to go into or not. I made this video because I was curious about it. I kept seeing it time and time again on my timeline, and in the top 25 crypto assets, and I didn't even know what it was. And so today we're doing a medium dive into Hyperliquid. Really impressive what they've built, and I'll tell you whether I think it's worth it or not to get involved in the ecosystem. All right, guys, if you're excited to learn about something new in crypto, I mean, this is interesting innovation nonetheless. At the end of the day, I'm really impressed on what this team has done, and I have to give them big props for it. It's already at a really high valuation, so you have to keep that in consideration. Keep in mind, guys, nothing in this video is financial advice. Everything is just for educational purposes, and if you guys can do me a huge favor, I've had a great week. Destroy the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, and let's get into it, guys. I want to start off with a post from Jeff, who is leading the Hyperliquid project. And he says, in 2024, Hyperliquid redefined the crypto meta to put community above all. With Hyperliquid, there are no investors, no market makers, and no fees paid to any company. Billions of dollars of value were created by a common vision and relentless hard work. This value went directly to hundreds of thousands of users, building a passionate community with real skin in the game. You all continue to inspire me every day. 2, became the first mature, permissionless financial hub where liquidity and UX match the most liquid centralized venues. Recent highlights include $15 billion 24-hour volume, reaching 20% of Bybit futures and 8% of Binance futures volume. Unlike CEXs or centralized exchanges, Hyperliquid accomplishes all of this on a user-owned protocol. 3, reinvented several of the most entrenched and predatory centralized practices to crypto aligned, fair, transparent, and accessible. I really appreciate this. Example of the last point. Listings have always been controlled by CEXs that extort projects through listing fees to maximize their own profits. This is absurd. As the community drives long-term success, CEXs tempt projects with immediate liquidity but kill their ultimate vision. On Hyperliquid, listings are fair, permissionless, and transparent. Anyone can bid in the auction to deploy a new spot asset. Projects that want to control their own fate increasingly see Hyperliquid as a one-stop infrastructure for both the tech stack and liquidity. So that's really cool, guys. I mean, here they're saying the community can vote on which tokens are listed on the exchange, and I'd love to dig in a little bit more and find out how that works. But taking away from centralized exchanges that take tons of percentage of token supplies just to dump on projects when they list them, the predatory practices is really cool. Number 2, historically, CEXs capture the lion's share of revenue in projects. On Hyperliquid, builders are already bootstrapping 9-figure businesses. Some are monetizing over $100,000 per day in revenue entirely on chain through builder codes, which are primitive built into the L1 to allow customizable monetization for applications. Others carve out and own entire verticals in the building ecosystem. It goes on, and he's going to make some core predictions on and what happens in 2025. But basically saying that it starts as an exchange, a perpetuals exchange, a futures exchange, and spot exchange, and they're also building a layer 1. And so the layer 1, the predictions are that there'll be multiple billion-dollar applications built on there. More than 50% of volume from new DeFi projects will happen there, and millions of users will enjoy Hyperliquid. Some pretty bold claims, but community first is really important. So you have kind of the essence of a meme coin, and in a way, kind of around. I only mean that in the community first project with no private investors and community first type of project. So, and decentralized on chain, everything's transparent. We know it's real, which is really impressive. So what is Hyperliquid? Hyperliquid is a high-performance layer 1 with a vision of fully on-chain open financial system. It has built a crypto trading exchange with a CeFi-like experience for transparent on-chain orders without compromising end-user experience. The Hyperliquid L1 uses custom consensus algorithm called HyperBFT, which is heavily inspired by Hot Stuff and its successors. Both the algorithm and networking stack are optimized from the ground up to support the L1. So what are the unique features of Hyperliquid? Hyperliquid is a decentralized exchange that combines the efficiency of centralized platforms with the transparency of decentralized finance. Its advanced features include high-performance Layer 1 blockchain. Hyperliquid operates on its own Layer 1 blockchain with up to 100,000 orders per second, gasless trading, on-chain order book, advanced trading features, vaults, which basically are how the liquidity is done in market making, and the native token, which is Hype, serves multiple functions, including governance rights, fee payments, staking rewards. We'll talk more about that later, fostering community participation and network security, and staking as well, guys. So Keishan over here says, let's review how Hyperliquid got here and the flywheel will continue to scale. Hyperliquid's UI UX is the best among perp dexes, bar none. I'd say it's actually better than every single CEX out there, with the exception of Binance. Quite an amazing feat. The interface is smooth, simple to navigate, easy on the eyes, and has nice trading features. And most importantly, there is zero latency whatsoever, even during the most tumultuous times. Hyperliquid's liquidity is excellent. This can be attributed to their HLP Vault, an unbelievable product, its users base being real, with users that do a lot of volume, and its market maker friendliness, gasless instantaneous transactions, good API SDK allow for market makers to comfortably quote tight spreads, and the fees are incredibly cheap. This is what Hyperliquid looks like. Now we're looking at, it looks like to me a normal exchange. Now you guys know I don't trade very much, so this isn't a product that I will be using a whole lot, but I do think it's really interesting, and I do think obviously most people come into this space with the expectation of trading. And so you can see you've got your drop-down menu over here, you've got your spot products, perps products over here, trending, DEX only, etc., pre-launch. So they're all DeFi, gaming, layer 1, laid out really, really cool, nice and organized, clean UX, UI, and a deep order book. This is fully on chain, which is pretty remarkable, guys. So remember, we just talked about Jupiter and Radium and the buybacks. So Ledger of Light says, everyone's screaming about Jupiter buybacks, but let's do the math. Jupe will be buying back roughly 10 million worth of tokens per month, which is great. But Hype currently buys back $2 to $3 million of tokens per day, and this is pre-EVM. Cut out the noise. And now you will have to validate this yourself on this because I haven't gone deep enough. This is to be a light overview. This is my medium dive into this, guys. I haven't gone deep into this, but I have seen others reporting the same amount of buybacks, which is pretty insane. So Nansen says on-chain, and all this is on-chain, by the way, guys. So like it's not like people can just make this stuff up. Hyperliquid accounts for 50% of DEX perp volume in the world, rivaling even tier 1 CEXs. It's adding 1,000 to 3,000 new users daily, totaling 324,000, and its ability to list tokens like Trump 12 hours before major CEXs, it's cementing itself as a go-to venue for traders who want speed, innovation, and liquidity. Very, very, very interesting. Also, Nansen talks about down here a little bit about the next big thing, Hype EVM. Set to launch soon, the Hype EVM will use Hype as a gas token, creating another revenue stream while opening doors for DeFi developers to build apps and tools on Hyperliquid's infrastructure. This isn't just a DEX anymore, it's evolving to a full-fledged layer 1 ecosystem with the tools to dominate DeFi. I think this is going to crush Injective, by the way. Like, pretty impressive. Cointelegraph says, this is as of yesterday, just in, Hype flips ETH on 24-hour fee revenue. It's doing almost $2 million a day in fees, which is crazy. On-chain Time says over here, Hype has been stuck in this range since December 23rd and has now lasted here for more than a month. This was on January 29th. It's gone up quite a bit in the past couple of days, by the way. But in this period, however, Hyperliquid has generated over $59 million in revenue, which have been used by the Assistance Fund to buy back Hype. Without any growth assumptions, Hyperliquid is currently on track to generate more than $600 million in yearly fees. Per our show we did the other day, that's set to be amongst one of the highest grossing protocols in the entire crypto space. Hype is sitting at just $185 million in cumulative fees. For comparison, Uni is $3.7 billion, Cake is $1.9, Sushi $807, GMX $364. Now, because it's just getting started as of November, apparently, right? But going up very, very, very quickly. So Moon over here says some Hyperliquid positives, top 10 revenue in crypto, probably ends the year top 5 in revenue. Has number one product market fit in crypto, perpetuals, futures trading. This has always been crypto's number one use case. Let me know, guys, in the comments below if you guys are, trading perps or not. I think that a ton of people do, especially institutions. I'll show you some mind-blowing statistics pretty soon that leads me to believe that there's a lot of institutions, high net worth individuals. It's essential. Like, I'll show you something, and it's pretty crazy. So the token will be gas token for the L1 to drive demand in the main coin. Likely will have increased exchange utility like fee discounts or collateral like BNB. It has a cult-like community, 2 to 3% yield for stakers and airdrops plus possible season 2 points and rewards. 40% of locked tokens are saved for users. It's $10 billion plus in rewards. Biggest of any blockchain, probably the biggest airdrop opportunity in history again. So if you trade or stake, you're likely to get some hype airdropped to you. I don't know exactly how that works so far, but that is the kind of flywheel incentive mechanism. So let's look at some 7-day on-chain volume for L1s and L2s. Solana has done 145 billion. And by the way, this is calculated between perps and spot DEX volume. Solana, 145 billion. Hyperliquid, 72 billion. ETH mainnet, 32 billion. Base, 14 billion. Arbitrum, 10 billion. SWI, 4.4 billion. And the market caps of each, 122 for Sol, 8 for Hype, 394 for ETH, 3 for ARB, and 13 for SWI. So it's doing a tremendous amount of volume. Now, I don't think that's necessarily the way that you want to. It's not a fair comparison because Hype's sole purpose, they did a fantastic job at building a DEX, and that's the only real purpose of it at this time. Although it's evolving to L1, the other ecosystems are not their primary purpose, but still. Just a bit of perspective there, like everything else we're going to talk about on the show today. So this thread from if you want to read the whole thing, you can. It's at ren_GMI. But basically goes to tell you why there's no centralized exchange listings yet right now. And it's because I believe, I don't know for sure, but the way that you transfer over if you want to start using Hyperliquid is you have to use like something like dbridge, for example, and you have to bridge from Arbitrum to Hype. Now, I believe that's probably because maybe they use some of like Arbitrum's technology to spin it out. I'm not sure exactly, but the point is it's a custom layer 1 token, and other sexes would have to do a lot of engineering and things like that in order to list the current HIP1 asset, which is the token standard of the Hype. Now, when the EVM launches, they'll have the EVM version of Hype, which will be, tradable across all EVMs and much easier to integrate into DEXs. And so this user over here speculates that, of course, once the EVM launches and the token is on the EVM chain, that, Hype EVM goes live, that a lot of centralized exchanges listings will come in. And then he says, well, maybe they won't because it's competing for the business. However, exchanges want money. I think they're going to list it no matter what. They should. And I bet you Hype won't pay anything for it. There's no need. And I bet you they don't care either. So ZK Turing over here says, Jeff just announced an improvement to the Hype EVM. Here's what it means for those of us that don't speak his nerdy language. Normally blockchains have to pick between fast but small blocks, good for quick transactions, or big but slow blocks, good for complex transactions like deploying contracts. Hyper EVM now does both at the same time by having 2 types of blocks: fast blocks every 2 seconds for small size, and slow blocks every 1 minute, big size. This means that users get fast confirmations while developers get more room for complex transactions. No need to sacrifice one for the other. So you've got small blocks for small, simple transactions, just sending payments or whatever, and then bigger blocks that are a little bit slower for smart contracts and things like that, which should make it a pretty dynamic and interesting way to run an EVM. And if you guys aren't familiar, EVM is just the smart contract language that's on Ethereum and Base and Arbitrum and Ethereum Layer 2s, etc. You can see here that the amount of Hype staked over time, it's been pretty steady. And guys, this is just a little bit of data over here. You can go to hypeburn.fun and look at some of the statistics. You can see that the circulating supply, total supply is just under 1 billion. Now they're burning Okay, so this is circulating supply staked. Okay, guys, and one thing to be aware of on this hype burn is this kind of shows you burn. This is burn over time. I mean, it's not, it's like they burnt $90,000 with the tokens, which is nothing for a $27 billion fully diluted value protocol, but it's just to date anyway. And you can see that there still has a lot of emissions to go, lots of future unlocks. And so you do have to pay attention. We'll get to that in the future when we look at the FTV versus circulated market cap, and do have to keep that in mind. So if you are staking hype, then so far you've gotten pretty good airdrops from these projects. These are the ones listed: Scent, Anime, Time, and God. Back here, I'll also share this link in the description below if you want to see the upcoming airdrops and things like that as well, if you are staking hype as well, if you guys are interested in participating in this ecosystem. Full disclosure, I haven't bought any hype yet. I don't know if I'm going to buy hype yet. I'm really, really impressed by what they've done. I wish I would have found out about this sooner. I do think that at this point, it's probably going to go a lot higher, but let's finish continuing on to what else is happening over here so you can make your own decision. So Hyperliquid ecosystem is really starting to gain mindshare. Now the third most focused on ecosystem amongst fund managers. Expect this meaningfully flip Ethereum in 2025. Solana was in a similar spot with Hyperliquid just a year ago, and look where we are today. So you can see now in this one report, I don't know where they got the data, from Crypto Insights Group, I guess, fund managers are most focused on Solana ecosystem by a wide margin, but then you've got Ethereum and Hyperliquid over here. So it's on people's radar, especially institutions. And the thing is because people can come trade without KYC from anywhere in the world, which is pretty insane. Now you have all the biggest exchanges, Binance and Bybit and everything like that, require KYC. A lot of sanctioned countries, a lot of restricted countries, and Hyperliquid, free game. So one thing to note here is that one thing that I think is pretty bullish and unknown is you have CryptoRank is tracking these unlocks, and this core contributors, so like the team basically, their unlocks don't happen until essentially November or something like that, or December, right? December of this year. So they won't be unlocking, but I don't know what this 45% of tokens here that is untracked. I'm not exactly sure what that is. If you guys know in the comments below, let the viewers know. That'd be very helpful. So we're going to give you some speculation here on some valuations. Now, Ryan Watkins over here is comparing this as an L1. Right? And why not? Like, there's a lot of ways to build a community, and building an L1 is really hard, but these guys have already got to a number 25 market cap coin, huge community with like 350,000 users or something. So I'd say they've done a really good job at building attention so far. And in 2021 bull run, there was 8 layer 1s that surpassed 100 billion FTV. Today, only ETH, Sol, and BNB trade above 100 billion FTV, with most emerging L1s trading in the 10 to 40 billion range. If you expect the cycle to be bigger than last, is it really crazy for the cycle's emerging leaders to reach 100 billion? Hype. So let's look at the top leading layer 1s. Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, BNB, etc., FTVs. And we come down and we find a Hyperliquid down here at 27 billion for the current FTV. So I think it's very, very realistic. This thing does a 4x, no problem. That only puts it at like a 36 billion or so. And it's probably far more valuable than Cardano or Tron, to be honest, and probably bringing more value than the others as well, or at least more, definitely bringing more revenue and on-chain transactions. So I would expect this thing climbs significantly just from the current state of what's happening. The buybacks, the revenue, the users' attention, it definitely deserves. And then also the layer 1 coming in will show you the layer 1 ecosystem how it's evolving. For me, considering the fact that the core contributors and things like that aren't unlocking, the founders don't seem to be in any hurry to try to leave anytime soon. I don't expect a large percentage of those tokens to unlock and then dump on anybody. They spent probably years and years and years building these hyper brainiacs building this stuff. So I expect that they're here to be the long term. So my guess is, I wouldn't be surprised if we still have see like a 10 to 20x in this thing still. Maybe 10 to 15, something like that. In the last bull run, bigger than last. More institutions coming in, more people trading on chain. But again, when you look at FTVs, the biggest one of 2021 was ETH by far. This will probably 3x that or something. This one, Filecoin's not going to go up there, obviously. Luna 117. I don't know, guys. I'd say easy for sure. 5x still coming in, but again, we'll have to see how this ecosystem evolves. This is the chart, by the way. It's looking really good, actually. This kind of recent breakout kind of looks like it's it's going to head up as people are paying more attention to this. And you can see the ecosystem starting to grow. So this is the Hyperliquid ecosystem. And Hodler over here says, I expect this list to grow 3 to 4x when the launch of EVM. And so this is kind of the ecosystem. You guys can check it out yourself at Hodler0. And or you can just look at Hyperliquid ecosystem. You can see there's all these meme coins being built there currently. You've got gaming, AI stuff. So it's already evolving. This is all probably user-generated and community-generated stuff. It would be cool if we had a completely community-generated chain that thrives on really community attention versus VCs, backing everything, and that would be pretty impressive. And my guess is that most of the stuff is, just really built by devs. We'll see. I don't know for sure, but I haven't dug into the ecosystem so much. This is a high-level scratching the surface video. Let me know what you guys think of this, and if you want me to dive in deeper to the ecosystem, I'm curious to do it myself. Rick Speed over here says at MK Speed _ the state of Hyperliquid ecosystem. So he did a little thread. I'll put the link in the description in the show notes, and you can read the description of what this user thinks are interesting tokens to go check out, because it is a layer 1 after all. You got PIP, Liquid, Drip Trade, etc., etc. They do have like a pump.fun kind of thing and all those things. But if you look at the deck screener right now for the ecosystem, you can see it's still pretty small. And of course, Hype at 28 billion market cap, but you got this biggest one, this Purr at 128 million. This Liquid at 50 million. The next biggest one's 25 million market cap. So the tokens over there are pretty small still. Let's see how the volumes are doing. But volume's pretty good, because it's a chain full of liquidity. So I don't know. Maybe there's a meme coin season there. I'm not really sure. Again, this is just scratching the surface. If you guys want to go play around on Hyperliquid, best way to do it is use dBridge, and you'd have to get your tokens from Arbitrum to Arbitrum, and then you can just do like USDC or whatever, and then you can do Arbitrum USDC to Hyperliquid USDC, and then if you connect your wallets from EVM wallets and transfer your tokens over there, and then you can just connect your wallets to Hyperliquid, and you can start rocking and rolling over there. Basically, that's how you bridge over. Here's some pretty cool stats about Hyperliquid, guys. There's been 341,661 users so far. Total volume is 773 billion. Total deposits, 21 billion. Total withdrawals, 19 billion. Total notional liquidated, 22 billion. You guys want to know why? Look at the annualized funding rates, blah, blah, blah. This is why it's really dangerous to become a trader, guys. This is the net traders P&L. This is cumulative P&L on this platform. So you can see so far on this platform, people have lost cumulatively $60 million. A lot. People are not making so much money, but that's the way that perps are, and this is the way that exchanges make money as well. And the good thing is that at least when people get liquidated, the fees, some of them go back to at least the ecosystem, I believe, in this ecosystem, in Hyperliquid. Look at this. These stats are crazy. Look at largest users by volume. Some users have $61 billion, $50 billion. Largest user deposits, $299 million, $68 million of deposits. People are trading with this. Largest liquidated users by USD. Someone got liquidated, this person over here, for $35 million, $25 million, $20 million. Oh, just liquid. Rough. And how it started, guys, is Hyperliquid Labs is a core contributor supporting the growth of Hyperliquid, led by Jeff and Ilisink, who are classmates from Harvard. Other members of the team from Caltech and MIT previously worked at Airtable, Citadel, Hudson River Trading, and Nuru. The team used to do proprietary market making in crypto in 2020 and expanded into DeFi in the summer of 2022. Existing platforms were plagued with issues such as poor market design, bad tech, and clunky UX. It was easy to make money trading on these protocols, but disappointing to see how far behind DeFi was compared to its centralized counterparts. The team set out to build a product that could solve these issues and provide users with a seamless trading experience. Designing a performant decentralized L1, including a perpetuals order book, DEX requires an intimate understanding of quantitative trading, cutting-edge blockchain technology, a clean UX, which a team is well-positioned to deliver. The team actively engages with and listens to the community. You're welcome to join the Discord server and ask questions and share feedback. Lastly, Hyperliquid Labs is self-funded, and we've not taken any external capital, which allows a team to focus on building the product they believe without external pressure. So overall, really impressive, guys. So guys, I'm still not sure if I'm going to go over here and buy this thing sitting at a $9.3 billion market cap, almost 28 billion FDV. But, it's not available on any major exchanges yet. It is available on KuCoin, but you don't really need to. It doesn't really matter. I mean, I guess if you want to speculate, you can go buy it on KuCoin, probably a good place, or you can go play around, or Gates, or you can go check out. The best way is go play with it, see if you like it. As for me, guys, I don't know. I'm going to do some more research, but I am very impressed. This does fit within the ethos of what I really appreciate and want to see from builders in this ecosystem. So I'll catch you guys on Monday. Have a good week. Bye-bye.